You know what time it is? Bam! Get into it! Get into it! Yes! I am back, baby! I am so sorry that I've been gone for quite some time. I was gone for a week. I was having a lovely vacation with my best friend and had an incredible time and made so many wonderful memories. It was my first time going to Miami, as well as my first time seeing the ocean and swimming in the ocean, and it was amazing. Thank you all so much for your love. My birthday was October 2nd, but I do appreciate the birthday send-offs that I am continuing to get, and that is very much appreciated. So thank you. Thank you so much. I hope everybody is having a good night. I was 6 minutes late. I'm doing my best to try to be on time. I actually, for those who have not seen, have started doing story time as of today on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram and you would like to see what books I read on that channel, please follow me. It's a good time. Share it with your friends. Like, share, subscribe. Also, an update, if you go to my profile, in the bio, there's a direct link to the YouTube channel for Storytime with Chris. Please like, share, and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds to subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers to go fully live on YouTube so I can put Storytime with Chris on one singular platform to where everyone can watch it and not have to go back and forth between the two channels. So it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying myself. I don't own the music that is in the background. Besides my beach island hair right now, which I'm loving, it feels good to be 30 years old. I don't understand why people dread that so much. Like, here's what I keep saying to people, and I've been saying this the last few weeks. Age is a state of mind. Aging is inevitable. We are all going to get older. We are going to be, Lord willing, in our 50s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s potentially. And when you take good care of yourself and you do right by people, you know, everything else, God takes care of everything else. Or whomever you believe in. Like, you are blessed with good things. When you take care of yourself, try to eat right, take care and exercise, hang out with people you love, tell people you love them. And, yeah, just be a good person. I don't think that's that hard of a concept. And just learn how to be patient and be kind with people. And not allow yourself to get caught up in the negativity of what the world would have you believe. Okay? I'm sorry, y'all. I love playing in my hair. It's great. Because it's so bouncy and curly. But I hope everybody's Monday has been going well. I know it was super busy for us at Ellie's today. But that is to be expected on Indigenous Peoples Day. Shout out to all my Native American friends and colleagues. In this house, we do not celebrate Christopher Columbus. Because Christopher Columbus can, excuse me, bless me, go kick rocks. So we don't do that in this house. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Awesome. Y'all deserve all the respect. And all of the representation that, you know, life has to offer. I still don't think there are enough really good representations of people of color in media. But that's another conversation for another day. But for those who also didn't see, I got an amazing... Well, this is one of my birthday gifts that I got for my birthday. I got my own teaspoon. My stirring spoon. It comes with a little ladle. Little cup, saucer, excuse me. Wow, my brain is elsewhere. And then the cup itself has like Greek and Roman to an extent heroes and characters on it, and it is right up my alley. So I was very grateful. So shout out to Kyle for getting me this gift out of many gifts. Thank you so much. And it came in this gorgeous box because yellow is my second favorite color. But without further ado, we're going to switch gears and get started. It's been a while since we've read Redwall. Okay. So we definitely on part 2, chapter 4. Like I said, all the previous chapters are available on the YouTube channel. They are uploaded, ready for there to view. If you would like to view it, please go there. Without further ado, we will begin. I don't own the music that you're listening to in the background. Chapter 4. Brother Methuselah was busy with a small brush and a pot of black ink. As he brushed the dust of ages from each letter on the wall, he filled it with ink. This would make it easier to read the message that had been graven underneath the tapestry.
Ah, Matthias, there you are.
Methuselah squeaked. He blinked over the top of his glasses at the young mouse.
Look, there's something I want you to see. Quite by accident, I discovered this writing beneath where Martin's picture once hung.
Matthias was full of unconcealed excitement. "What does it say, Brother Methuselah?" he cried. The old gatehouse keeper sneezed at his brushed more dust from the lettering on the wall.
Oh, in good time, young mouse. Here, make yourself useful. You brush the dust off the words while I ink them in. Between us, we'll soon get it done.
Matthias set to work with energetic goodwill. He scrubbed vigorously, sending up clouds of dust. Between sneezes, Methuselah hurried to keep pace with him. 1 hour later, they both sat on the stone floor, drinking October ale to quench the dust while they admired their handiwork.
It's written in the old hand, said Methuselah, but I can read it clear enough.
Matthias jostled him boastfully. "What does it say, old one? Hurry up and read it to me."
"Patience, you scallywag," chided the ancient mouse. "Be quiet and listen. It takes the form of a poem."
"Who says that I am dead knows not at all. I am that is, 2 mice within Redwall. The warrior sleeps 'twixt hall and cavern hole. I am that is, take on my mighty role. Look for the sword and moonlight streaming forth at night when day's first hour reflects the north. From o'er the threshold seek and you will see I am that is, my sword will wield for thee." Matthias blinked and scratched his head. He looked at Methuselah. What did it all that mean? It's a riddle to me."
"Precisely. It is a riddle, but don't worry, Matthias. We will solve it together. I have sent for food and drink. You will not have moved from here until we have the answer."
Shortly afterwards, Cornflower arrived bearing a tray of breakfast for them both. Nut bread, salad, milk, and some of Friar Hugo's special quiche pie. She was about to strike up a conversation with Matthias when Methuselah sent her packing.
Shoo, away from you, little field mouse. I need Matthias with a clear brain to help me solve an important problem, so run along.
Cornflower winked at Matthias, shook her head at Methuselah, and walked off with mock dignity, her nose high in the air. Matthias watched her go until Methuselah tweaked his ear.
"Pay attention, young mouse. We must study this bit by bit. Let's take the first 2 lines.
Who says that I am dead knows not at all." Matthias waved a paw, his mouth filled with salad. He mumbled, "But we know that Martin is dead." Methuselah took a sip of milk, pulled a wry face, and reached for his October ale.
"Ah, but if we suppose that he is dead, then the words tell us we know nothing at all. So let us assume that he is alive."
"What? What do you mean? Martin alive and walking about?" said Matthias. "We'd recognize him, unless, that is, he was disguised as someone else." The old gatekeeper choked, spluttering ale all over his habit.
"Good grief, I never looked at it that way. What do they say?"
"I am that is, 2 mice within Redwall." Matthias repeated the words, but he could make no sense of them. "I am that is? What is 2 mice within Redwall? 2 mice it tells of."
"Of 2 mice in 1,
replied Methuselah. They sat silent a while, both racking their brains. Matthias mentioned something that was bothering him as he looked at the graven lines. "What I cannot understand is that sort of dash. Look, I, dash, am that is. Do you see? There's a small dash between the words I and am. In fact, the same dash occurs 3 times throughout the rhyme. Here, and here." Matthias pointed. Methuselah adjusted his glasses and peered closely. "See,
You may have something there."
Matthias pointed.
"It could be the key to the whole thing. I am that is. Let's say that the dash separates the thing. I am that is.
Let's say that it separates so that we will look at the last three words.
Am that is. Suppose we took that part out, and that it would read I, two mice within Redwall."
Matthias shook his head. "What do you make of that?"
"Complete nonsense,"
replied the old mouse.
"Let's stick with am that is."
"Sounds all mixed up to me," Matthias grumbled. Methuselah looked up sharply.
"Say that again."
"Say what again? You mean that it sounds like all mixed up to me?" Methuselah executed a little jig of delight. He patted the wall with his paw, shouting,
"That's it! That's it! Why couldn't I see that? It's all mixed up, of course."
The old mouse took a great draught of ale. Cackling with glee, he pointed a paw at Matthias.
"I know something that you don't know. Am that is, Matthias."
The young man frowned, so the old one had finally cracked. He was in his second infancy. "Methuselah, hadn't you better lay down a while?" But the old gatehouse keeper kept pointing. He began to chant, "Matthias, I that am, Matthias, you that are." The young mouse stood, tapping his tail in expiration. "I wish you'd tell me what you're excited about," he said severely. "Why are you saying my name?" Methuselah wiped tears of laughter from his eyes as he explained.
"When you said it was all mixed up, that got me thinking. Martin was talking of two mice, himself and another. Ergo, Martin is represented by the word I, the other mouse is am, that is, all mixed up. Don't you see?"
Matthias leaned against the wall. "I'm afraid I don't understand you."
"Oh, you young bobby,"
Methuselah giggled.
"I mixed the letters up and rearranged them. It's your own name. And that is Matthias."
See? Foreshadowing. It's happening. Matthias leaned against the wall.
"Are you sure?"
said Matthias in astonishment.
"Of course I'm sure," replied Methuselah. "I couldn't mean anything else. Your name has 8 letters in it. So has I am that is. An M, 2 A's, 2 T's, an H, an S, and an I. Whichever way you look at it, Matthias, or am that is, it comes out the same."
"Methuselah, do you realize what this means?" The old mouse sat beside him, nodding gravely.
"Oh, yes, I do. It means that Martin somehow knew that one day he would live on through you."
Matthias was staggered.
"He knew about me? Martin the warrior knew my name?
Can you believe it?" The enormity of it overwhelmed them both. For several minutes they sat, no word passing between them. Suddenly Matthias leapt to his feet. "Right, let's get on with it. Look at these lines. The warrior sleeps twixt hall and cavern hole. I am that is, take on my mighty role."
"Well, the last 2 lines are pretty clear," said Matthias. "They mean that Martin, carrying on through you, has a great task to perform."
"What about the first 2 lines?" Matthias said. "They seem fairly obvious, too. Between cavern hall and cavern hole, there is a flight of stairs. Come on, old mouse." In spite of his ancient advanced years, Methuselah gripped Matthias's paw and ran so fast that the young mouse had difficulty in keeping up. Between Great Hall and Cavern Hole there were 7 stone steps. The problem was which one held the answer.
"Thinking caps on again," said the old mouse. "Let's make a close inspection of these steps."
Together they examined the stone steps minutely, going back over each one several times. Matthias sat on the bottom step. He shrugged. "They appear to be 7 ordinary broad stone steps. Nothing special. Quite the same as any other set of stairs in the abbey, wouldn't you say?" Methuselah was forced to agree. After sitting a while, letting his eyes roam about, Matthias remarked, "I've just noticed something. The name of the abbey is carved into the wall as you go up the stairs on the left-hand side, and also as you descend on the right-hand side. It reads Redwall either way." Matthias walked up and down the steps, testing what Methuselah had said. So it does. Do you see that each letter is 1 step's width? 7 letters for 7 steps. Surely that must be some kind of hint. Again, the two friends sat to ponder the mystery. This time, it was Matthias' turn to become excited and point a paw at his companion. I know something you don't know. Methuselah pursed his lips in annoyance.
You know Matthias Farmouse that claims affinity with Martin the warrior. You can be singularly foolish sometimes.
Ha! No more foolish than you are when you were saying the same thing to me not so long ago, Matthias retorted. Methuselah coughed and cleaned his spectacles on his habit.
Yes, well, I apologize. Now please tell me what you've discovered.
Matthias explained. If you place the word Redwall running both ways as it does here, you'll notice that only 1 letter occurs in the same place, the letter W. Furthermore, if you were to turn a W upside down, it becomes a letter M, which stands for Martin, Matthias, and also for Methuselah, my old friend.
Well, curl my whiskers. The young scoundrel has a brain and it works too. It's got to be the 4th step, the middle one, up or down.
The step in question proved to be solid and unmoving as its counterparts. Even with their combined strength, the friends could not budge it at a fraction. Matthias wiped sweat from his brow. Take a breather, old one. I know we can handle this. 4 mole and the team. The moles were not long in arriving. They gathered around the steps, sniffing and scratching. 4 mole exercised his authority, clearing them out of his way.
Moles, get out of them lot. Let 'em dog and bonder.
The 4 mole paced the length of the step, then shuffled sideways over it. He tapped with his great digging paws. He sniffed it, licked it, and rubbed it with his velvet hand.
What you gentle beasts know about this here step?
He asked. Together they related all the information to the attentive 4 mole. He blinked short-sightedly as he ruminated.
And 4 and upwards, same down as your vault arc Dobie. Be it that same as your grandma do find when she rotten from olden time fortifications.
What's he saying? Whispered Matthias. Methuselah translated the curious Mo dialect.
4 Mo said, the 4th step upwards is the same as the 4th step down. That much we already know. Though he consulted the 2 Mo brothers, Walt and Dobie, it seems the step is the same as one found by their grandmother when she was exploring an old-fashioned castle or fortification. Mo's are very sensible creatures, you know, and I think they have the answer to our problem.
Good old 4 mole, said Matthias.
Hush! Let's see what Walt and Dobie have to say,
whispered Methuselah. The 2 Mole brothers repeatedly tugged their noses to 4 Mole before answering. There be true, sir. Our grandma, she found lots of 'em.
Aye, that she do.
Never digging or breaking, just turning 'em after dusting. Methuselah interpreted Matthias.
Apparently their grandmother was somewhat of an authority on steps such as these. The clever old Mo would never dig nor break them. Evidently she could turn the step over once she had brushed it.
Matthias addressed 4 Mole courteously. Excuse me, sir, but do you know how to deal with this step now? If you do, then my friend and I will be only too willing to help you. 4 Mole smiled, his whole face almost vanishing into dark velvet wrinkles. He clapped Matthias on the shoulder in a chummy way. The young mouse was amazed at the weight and strength of 4 Mole's paws. He was glad that he was a friend and a friendly pet. 4 Mole chuckled deeply.
Nay, bless your little heart, Matways. You'd one Methuselah be but mouses, but leave 'em on to 4 Mole. He'll deal with it. He says he can cope adequately without us,
said Methuselah. 4 Mole produced a thick, fine-haired hairbrush from his tunneling kit. Bending close, he brushed away furiously at the upper and lower insteps of the 4th step. As he swept, he snuffled and blew. Following the path of his brush, it soon became apparent that the stone had been cunningly jointed. The dust came away to reveal a continuous hairline crack which ran around the edges of the step. Next, Formo rummaged in his kit and came up with a tin of grease and a strong thin bar, one end of which was flattened with a spatula. Smearing the grease liberally on top of the third step, formally inserting the flat metal tip against the base of the fifth step, he dealt the blunt end of the bar a smart blow, setting it firmly into the crack. With a swift movement, he levered the fourth step an inch forward, exposing a long, dark gap. With a grunt of satisfaction, Formo called out of his team,
"Your boys, gather round 'em, set your digging claws in 'em crack."
The mole team dug their claws into the gap, chanting together as they heaved with a will. "Here she comin', if you please, moving boulder, salt, and grease." To the astonishment of the watching mice, the step slid smoothly outwards on the greased stone. It turned completely out to reveal a dark opening with a downward flight of stairs running off into the blackness below. I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom. I am back, and in the words of Dracula, "Ah, the children of the night, what music they make." And thank you, Miss Sherry. It's good to hear from you. Thank you. Back to the reading. Chapter 5. Old Sheila the vixen muttered her charms and spells in a sing-song voice. Sometimes she did a little hopping dance around the sickbed. Clooney was not fooled. He watched as the fox sprinkled magic herbs on the pillow, reciting another strange spell as she did so. The old fraud, Clooney thought. All that mumbo-jumbo of magic nonsense. What is she needed when she knows that she's a perfectly good doctor? Sheila had placed herb poultices and healing salves all on the warlord's wounds. After bandaging them neatly, she had administered a potion that would deaden the pain and induce sleep. Clooney was satisfied. He had been treated by healers many times before. Sheila was the best. All that added muttering, dancing, and trickery was done merely to enhance her reputation, to pull the wool over the eyes of stupid, ignorant creatures. She may be a fox, but she'll never outfox me, Clooney thought to himself. Sheila had assured him that with 3 weeks' rest combined with her healing skills, he would be fighting fit once more. 3 weeks? At first the rat leader had raged and sworn he had never been out of action that long in all his life. But secretly he knew that the fox was right. Without her, Clooney would have been dead or permanently crippled. Like all of her kind, Sheila was a slippery character. What did she expect to gain from all this? Loot and plunder from Redwall. Sheila had never been allowed to pass the Abbey gates. She was certain that if Clooney's army overran Redwall, there'd be enough treasure to keep even the greediest creature happy for life. Now, as the potions took effect, Clooney felt himself drifting off to sleep, lulled by the ceaseless chantings and mutterings of old Sheila. He would have come awake like a scorched tiger had he known what the fox was actually up to. Old Sela lived on her wits for many years. She was a counter-spy by nature. In any dispute or conflict, she invariably sold secrets to both sides. It was a dangerous game, but one that she had played well thus far. Her crafty golden eyes had not been idle for a single second since Clooney's camp as she entered. Sela knew exactly how many rats, weasels, stoats, ferrets, and well able-bodied enough for combat. Also, she had seen the working party gnawing industriously at the base of a tall poplar tree. If that wasn't going to be used as a battering ram, then Sela was a trout. And by her own diagnosis of 3 weeks, she knew to the day when the date of the next attack on Redwall would be. The vixen watched Clooney's eyes closing under the influence of her medicine. These warlords were all the same. They never gave credit for brains to anyone except themselves. There the big oaf was, snoring like a fox cub in his earth on a winter's night. She turned to the armed rats who guarded the sick room. She issued orders in a confidential whisper. "I want no noise, please. Your chief must have complete rest. Don't let him exert himself when he wakes. Now you'll have to excuse me." She made her way to the door. Fangbird and Redtooth stood barred. "Where do you think you're off to, Fox?" Sela licked her lips. She looked kindly but earnest. Actually, I was going back to my den to replenish my stock of herbs. That is, if you wish me to treat your leader properly. Of course." Redtooth prodded her with the spear. "Clooney gave strict orders that you must stay here until he's better." The sly fox blustered. "But good rats, surely you must realize that I can do nothing without my stock of herbs. Now please, let me pass." Fangbird shoved her roughly. "Sit down! You're not going anywhere!" Sela seated herself. Her mind was racing. Then at least let me go out into the churchyard. I've got to have some fresh air. Besides, I can tell my young assistant what herbs I require, and he can fetch them for me." Redtooth was not convinced. "But the chief said you'd got to stay here." Sela smiled inwardly. She had them where she wanted them now. She put on a serious expression, shaking her head gravely. "Then you had better give me your names. That way I can tell Clooney when he wakes full of pain with festering wounds. No doubt he'll want to know who it was who stopped me trying to cure him." This crafty statement did the trick. After a few whispered words before the two rats, Redtooth turned to Sela. "Listen, Fox, go out into the churchyard and tell your assistant to run his errand. The Fangbird here will be right by your side with a cutlass at your ribs. One false move out of you, and you'll be a dead healer. Is that clear?" Sela smiled ingratiatingly. "By all means, let your friend come along. I have nothing to hide." Out in the churchyard, Chickenhound, who was the son of Sela, sat sunning himself upon a tombstone. Fangbird did not see the secret wink that passed between the two foxes. Chickenhound was as devious as his mother in matters of espionage. His face was the picture of blank innocence as he listened to Sela's instructions. By the way, kids, I love the word espionage. It's to describe someone who is being sneaky, stealthy, somebody that's undercover, someone who is performing secrets and actions behind closed doors or without anybody knowing. So, kind of like Mission Impossible or James Bond. They are all about espionage. The CIA is all about espionage. So, there's that. The more you know. "Now listen, my son. We have a very sick rat inside that church. He is in urgent need of my special remedies. I want you to run as quickly as you can back to our den. Bring me back some snake rot, cuckoo spit, a medium eel skin, 3 fine strips of willow bark. Oh, there's so much to remember. I'd better write it all down for you." Sela turned to Fangbird. "Do you carry any writing materials with you, sir?" Fangbird spat scornfully at the fox's feet. "Are you trying to make fun of me, healer? What do you think I am, huh? Writing materials, the idea of it." Sela smiled disarmingly. "Ah, I thought not. Sorry. No offense. I'll just make do with some bark and a burnt twig. Where could I obtain such things, please?" Fangbird pointed sullenly with his cutlass. "Over there by the cooking fire. Be quick about it." A few minutes later, Sela presented Chickenhound with a scroll of bark that she had written upon. "There, that should do it. Now hurry along, my son. Don't stop for anything on the way." Isn't that right, Captain? Fangbird puffed out his chest, proud that the fox knew his rank. He pointed a claw at Chickenhound. You listen to what your mother tells you, young feller. Get back here with the stuff on that list as soon as possible. Be off with you now. The young fox took off like a rocket. Fangbird leaned on his cutlass. That's the way to deal with young'uns. Sela looked at him admiringly. Indeed it is, sir. He never goes that fast for me. It's obvious that you've got an air of command about you. Fangbird colored slightly. This vixen wasn't such a bad creature after all. He gestured modestly to the church with his cutlass. I think it's time we went back inside. Orders, you know. Oh, quite. Can't have you getting in trouble, can we? Said Sela in her most flattering tone. As soon as he was out of sight, Clooney's stronghold, Chickenhound slowed to a leisurely walk. He unfastened the bark scroll and read his mother's message. To the Abbot of Redwall Abbey, I know exactly when, where, and how the hordes of Clooney will attack your abbey. What price will you give me for this important information? Signed, Sela the Vixen. Chickenhound sniggered noiselessly. He knew precisely what his mother required him to do. He called Sela's favorite saying, I've sold hens their own chickens back and stolen the whiskers from farmyard dogs. The young fox ambled along the dusty road to Redwall, the hedgerows echoing with the sound of his sly chuckles. And that is when we are going to end for the night. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you all for being a part of this journey. And I will see you all next time. See ya.